Welcome to the Maf Garage, guys. Home and a brain dead Muppet. So it's the following week, and as promised on both Max's and my videos, we're heading off to Gilroy's. So let's go do this. Welcome to the first episode from my new garage. So, as you can see here, we are still sorting things out, and not all of it has been moved inside the house. But that doesn't mean you can't get work done. So, even though I've got a little bit of space, we're able to do a lot of jobs. So let me show you what I've got in store this week. Alright, so down here we've got a few pieces from Crustida that I brought home from the Lep Labs. So we've got the cam cover there. We've got the two halves of the intake manifold here. We've got the cam seal covers, and also the lower half of the timing cover. Alright, so we've got everything torn apart here. So we've got the fuel rail out, and then we can set all this up into this tub here. So I'm just going to empty all that out, throw some cleaner in it, and then throw this half and that half of the manifold in it. And we're going to take the injectors out of this, and we're going to start cleaning up the fuel rail here. And then we're going to move over onto the cam cover here. As you can see, I've already separated it. So I guess I'm ready to go and do this. Alright, so we've got all the O-rings removed and the top covers for the injectors, so we've just got to pop them out. And as you can see here, this top half of the intake is a lot cleaner than it was. As you can see here, no blackness everywhere again. And then I'll take you out here to my little tub, which I filled with some antibacterial hand soap. And I swear, guys, that is the absolute bomb, because look at the blackness of this water. Look at it. All that grime and stuff just caked on. And as you can see here, got the other half of the intake there. And we're just letting them dry out, all the different areas. And then I can bring them in and start cleaning it even further. Alright, so we've got the injectors out, and they were a pain in the bum. Had to go grab some vice grips and twist them and twist them and twist them until the O-rings actually popped out. It's the worst squeaky noise you'd ever hear. But now that's done, let's bring that back to bare metal, that back to bare metal, that back to bare metal. So I'm getting through it, so let me show you the difference between clean and 30 years of dirt. So as you can see here, this half clean, this half dirty, still 30 years of crust on it. So I'll get rid of all the rest of this stuff, and we'll keep going on to the other parts of the intake. And before I forget, just to show you guys, when you're using a wire wheel, just be careful it doesn't slip, or you end up with something like that on your leg. So it's a couple of days later, and just had some family things I had to deal with, but I'll show you the progress I'm up to now. Alright, so we've got the lower part of the manifold, upper part of the manifold, both our cam covers, and also the injector rail there. And I've been tossing up what to do, whether to paint it or just to clear coat it. I mean, if you have a look at this one, obviously this one is not a candidate for clear coat with all the dirt and crap still in there. It doesn't matter how much wire wheeling you do, you cannot get it all done. But the same can't be said for these things. So you've got that one pretty much done. There's a little bit there. Probably wipe that down with a bit of scourer. But then the injector rails are already taped up. And as you can see, the intake is taped up too. I've got a bit of tissue in there so that no paint goes into the breathers and into the baffles of the oil. Of course, that will end up being a bad time for me down the track. And I'm tossing up whether to keep these two metal, that metal, or to paint those and leave that one metal and that one metal and that painted. So I'm trying to work it out right now. So what I've been thinking is to give myself a floating manifold, which means painting the bottom half of the intake and clear coating the top half of the intake and the fuel rail. And I'm still tossing up whether to paint or clear coat the cam covers. I've seen plenty where I've just been clear coated and it looks pretty schmick. But for me personally, and for how the Crustida's gone with all the things I have painted so far, I'm thinking a shade of Shockwave will work for this. So let's see. Alright, so we've started priming this side. I've got to flip it over and then do the other side, and then we're going to put a nice black onto it, whether it's flat or gloss or satin. I'm not too sure, but we'll work it out. Rightio, slight change of plans. So we've gone with the black for the bottom half. We're going to stick with clear coat for that. And I've moved the cam covers over there because I'm still waiting for the bungs. So they're going to have to wait. So you've just seen it all cleaned, and they're not the only things I've actually touched, so I'll show you what else I've done. And just here, we've got all our gearbox lines. Now, I did all this off camera because obviously I didn't want to bore you guys anymore. But there's the dipstick for the gearbox. One gearbox line. 2 gearbox lines. Looking pretty schmick. You can see the gearbox lines there, and I'll show you what's happened to me. Here's my left foot, and there's my right foot. I've already done a little bit of a trip, and I'm back here at OnSong Performance, but I've been down in Brisbane helping the old man out for a couple of days. So I'm just here to drop off the intake manifold and other bits and bobs, so it helps them just start putting the motor together, and I can look at my head and my block for the first time. And just like that, we're already back at Maf Garage. Now, I'm going to have to level with you guys and say I want to keep some things secret, and you can watch that on the Labs, aka whatever Max calls his new channel name. I'll find that out just at the same time as you guys. And then we won't talk about what happened there. Yeah, bit of a disastrous trip down to Brisbane. Gonna have to take the car into the panel beaters and get that organised. But let me show you what's happened here, why I went to the Labs, not just for looking at the head and the block. And the whole thing is, I mean, the car looks crappy on the outside, but I want it to sort of look good on the inside. And it's sort of like me. I look crappy on the outside, but I'm good on the inside. Or at least I try to be. So let's get into it. And here's our bottom end pan and sump here. And as you can just see, it's rusty and crusty, just like everything else on the car. So what we're going to do is clean it all off, then prime it, paint it, clear coat it, have it looking just like these, and then take it back down there so Max has a bottom end to put on to my 1J. So after giving the bath to the sump and the bottom here, I've actually started taking the bits off. And just see it coming up nice and shiny. It's going to be good taking it back. So let me get this done and I'll come back to you. So here's the bottom pan fully primed. It's looking pretty good there. And also the cover there. Did you know the cover of this had a J on it? I didn't until I scraped it, but you know, it's all good to go. We'll wax some paint on it and I'll show you the final product. So as you can see, nothing gets missed. Even the sump's being painted